Straight ahead on the Valley today, serious allegations of a cover-up and a botched investigation. The parents of two boys killed in a crash talk openly after filing a federal civil rights lawsuit. And 1 week out, Olympic athletes are arriving in Tokyo as coronavirus cases start to spike. Plus, big money is being offered in hopes of preventing future cyber attacks against the U.S. It's now 12 minutes before 7, and we start here. The parents of two teenage boys killed in a crash in 2015 spoke out just 1 week after filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against Park Christian School and a Minnesota State Patrol trooper, accusing them of botching the investigation and covering up the facts. The crash happened on I-94 near Dalton, Minnesota in 2015, killing both 18-year-old Zachary and his brother 14-year-old Connor Kavalvag.
It's got to stop. No family should ever go through what we have been through.
I can only say that what I've witnessed in this case, the facts have appalled me in the way that this was handled.
They're pure evil. This is ridiculous.
The couple says the biggest problem in the crash investigation comes from the crash investigator himself, Sergeant Rod Eichens. They claim he has close personal connections to Park Christian School leaders, which the lawsuit claims he never disclosed to his superiors. So far, a response from either the State Patrol or Park Christian School has not been filed in court. Let's get a check now of our First Alert Storm Team forecast, 11 minutes before 7. And lots to talk about. Extreme weather for people.
Yeah, on all ends of the spectrum here. You know, we're talking about extreme rainfall that we saw yesterday. I'll have an update on that in Grand Forks County. Of course, the extreme wildfire smoke situation and heat coming our way as well. So here's a look at our wildfire smoke this morning. Lots of places still being impacted by this. You can see we've got a hazy sunrise in Fargo on our Luther Family Ford Skycam. So more of this, more milky skies, especially on those horizons here where we're looking at more of that smoke concentrated. And checking out our visibility right now, again, a reminder, when we're down below 10 miles and we're talking about wildfire smoke, that's an indication that it's made its way to the surface and that we are breathing in potential pollution particles from that smoke as well. So if you have some concerns about air quality, it's good to keep an eye on that visibility. There's also a little bit of fog out there too, mixing in there over in the Oaks area. We're less than 2 miles. Wapaton's at 2.5, but in that 4 to 5 mile range, that's certainly where we're seeing some of that smoke impacting us here this morning. And a look at our latest air quality index, Fargo right in the red and surrounding areas, that's in that unhealthy range, but other places in orange and yellow too. A reminder, this area that doesn't have any color on the map, we unfortunately don't have monitors here, so we can't get that data for you, but still we're looking at conditions that are tough for basically valley-wide everybody here. Here's a look at our air quality forecast. Now we're at the air unhealthy range this morning. I think as we head into the day, we'll be more into that lower range, but still concerning for those who are in that sensitive group range. And if you're concerned at all, you know, we may see us dip again back into that unhealthy range from time to time. So something to be aware of and be watching here today. A look at our conditions around the valley. A hazy sunshine for many, 64 degrees in Fargo, it's 59 in Grand Forks, a lot of 60s here, and Devil's Lake, one of our warmer spots at 69 degrees. Light wind, it's out of the south, so that's changed the direction of that wildfire smoke. And the other thing, there's some storms out by Minot. We're going to keep an eye on that for our western counties for later tonight. I just want to remind you of what we were dealing with yesterday, that extreme rainfall in Grand Forks County. It led to a flash flood warning. It went from 1 until about 5 in the afternoon, where we just got dumped on in that area. So keep in mind, the flash flood warning is over, but we're under an overland flood warning here for that region, including for the Turtle River North Branch. Roads are washed out and there are closures here, so that's hazardous for those folks there. This is north of Larimore again. 5 to 10 inches of rain estimated in that area. Afternoon planner, 80s to about 90 degrees, hazy sunshine for today. And planning your forecast, lots of fairs this weekend, even in the FM metro area. Find ways to stay cool. We're looking at temperatures into the low 90s both days, and that haze still hanging around.
Okay, lots to be aware of. Thank you, Lisa. And as Lisa just mentioned, there are several big outdoor events this weekend, and with the temperatures soaring again, we have some important reminders to keep yourself safe in the heat. We check in live this morning with the Valley Today's Brian Sherrod. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Lisa. Now we're talking about keeping ourselves cool. Many people think that caffeine and even alcohol is the way to go, but what that actually does is dehydrate you faster. So I'm not trying to say completely stay away from them. I'm just saying don't use that to cool yourself down. Water is the biggest recommendation when it comes to cooling yourself down. And yes, you can do sporting drinks as well, but if you're not big into the excess sugar, I probably would stay away from those as well. Now, 8 glasses of water is the recommendation when it comes to keeping yourself cool, and even drinking more than that brings better results. Too much water in the body can be hazardous to your body as well. Now, along with dehydration, there are other risks, including palpitation, which is irregular or rapid heartbeat, and excessive sweating. If you choose to exercise outdoors, go during the early mornings or late evenings when the heat index is down.
Important when kids are younger and outside activity a lot to drink water. Also, the elderly at more risk for dehydration. So we really want our elderly, pregnant women and children to really stay hydrated during these hot summer months.
Now, children between 1 to 3 should have at least 4 healthy beverages per day. Children 4 to 6 should have between 4 to 6, and teenagers and adults should have that recommendation of 8 glasses of water. So if you are outside exercising and you happen to also be with someone, make sure you're checking each other for lightheadedness. And if one of you sadly happens to pass out, make sure you call 911 immediately. And at the same time, if you can find that shaded area, I would recommend going there as well.
All great reminders when it gets very hot outside. Brian Sherrod reporting live. Thank you. And we have an update for you on a story we first reported right here on the Valley today. A man is now facing several charges after barricading himself inside the Super 8 in Fargo with a knife. Kevin Brushwine was arrested for terrorizing, preventing arrest, drug paraphernalia, and 2 unrelated warrants. Guests had to be evacuated for their rooms as the standoff lasted at least 4 hours. The SWAT team was called in. Eventually, they set off a flashbang to distract Brushwine and were able to take him into custody. Fargo police are asking for your help identifying a man that was involved in a fight just outside the old Broadway in downtown Fargo. It happened early Sunday morning, but was reported to police later. This video is now being shared on social media. As you can see, it does show a man appearing to be held to the ground and assaulted by another man. Fargo police say they are investigating, but they do not know who the man on the ground is, and they would like to speak with him. If you have any information on this fight, please call dispatch at 701-451-7660. Police in Becker County say alcohol was a factor in a crash that left a man seriously injured. The sheriff's office responded to that single vehicle rollover on Highway 36 near 490th Avenue. That's where they found 37-year-old Robert Williamson lying on the road next to his overturned vehicle. He had to be airlifted to Sanford with serious injuries. Authorities say charges are likely in the crash. Marvin, a window and door manufacturing company, is taking a unique approach to finding new hires. And they're using the downtown Fargo Street Fair to do it. They are set up on the street there on Broadway, and they're offering on-the-spot interviews. On top of that, the company is paying people $20 cash just to fill out an application.
We could hire 50 people today and have spots for them in the next week or two, so 50 plus, I'd say.
Strategy seems to be working. Employees tell us during just the first few hours they did this, they had already made a few job offers. Athletes are now arriving and security is tightening, but coronavirus cases are also going up, and that is casting a shadow over the Tokyo Olympics, now set to start in just 1 week. New daily cases have been steadily climbing since mid-June, and experts say they could hit several thousand during the games. Now, despite the surge, some people in Japan say they still support the Olympics and are looking forward to watching the competitions.
If it goes good, actually very well, I think it is helping to overcome the pandemic situation with very energetic feelings.
Less supportive as new daily coronavirus cases surged above 1,300 in Tokyo, a 6-month high. Tokyo is under a 4th state of emergency, which began this week and requires restaurants and bars to close early and not serve alcohol through the Olympics, which starts on July 23rd. Meanwhile, American gymnasts have now arrived in Japan for the Olympics. Simone Biles was among the star athletes arriving at the airport just over a week before the start of the games. I'm not sure if you knew this, but all overseas athletes are required to take 2 COVID-19 tests before their departure and another test on their arrival in Japan. They will also have to undergo a 3-day quarantine and be tested daily. The White House COVID response team will hold a briefing a little later this morning as COVID-19 cases also begin to rise here in the U.S. again. Dr. Anthony Fauci and members of the White House COVID-19 response team will be holding that briefing. They're likely to discuss the dismal vaccination rates and how to get more shots into arms. The Delta variant of the coronavirus will also be a topic of discussion. A $10 million reward is now being offered for information on cyber attacks against the U.S. that are conducted under the direction of a foreign government. The State Department's Rewards for Justice program is offering the money for information leading to the identification or location of any person participating in a cyber attack on U.S. critical infrastructure. That includes extortion threats as part of a ransomware attack, intentional unauthorized access to a computer, or knowingly causing the transmission of a computer virus. The reward may include payments in cryptocurrency. The Secretary of Transportation is touring Chicago today as part of his 3-day infrastructure tour, also in Oregon, Arizona, and Illinois, to promote the bipartisan infrastructure framework. He'll tour the Transit Hub and the CREATE Project freight site. Afterwards, he plans to meet with labor and rail leaders as well. There are going to be updates and media news conferences held a little later today. President Biden says those direct payments that you're getting for expanded child credits will be life-changing for millions of families. Roughly 39 million families are up for that aid. And let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question: 25% of people say they do this 4 times a week. What is it? The answer: skip breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Remember, the Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on right now on the Fargo CW.